Your reaction to the deal?
What an absolute win for the Cleveland Browns. This is a team that was 1-31 for 2 seasons and then fired their coach midway through last season. And now all of a sudden, they have the 8th best Super Bowl odds, according to sportsbooks in Vegas. They're at 14-1. They are right now.
They were 25-1 before. And the day before they got Odell, and now 14-1.
And they were 100-1 to start last season.
Yeah.
And so it speaks to there is no 5-year plan in the NFL now. Turn it around quick. Get your quarterback, spend your money, turn it around quick. I love the move for Cleveland. For the New York Giants, it's very simple. It's just a total rebuild built around a 38-year-old quarterback, of which there is no track record of that ever working in football at any level, not even senior league football. You don't want to rebuild around a 38-year-old quarterback. This is the type of move where if a coach or a GM ends up getting fired, when the article is written about in the New York Post or the New York Daily News, in the first couple paragraphs, they mention 13 days after committing to Odell Beckham long-term and 10 months after giving him the biggest contract in franchise history for a non-quarterback, they traded Odell Beckham Jr. for the 17th pick, the 95th pick, and Jabril Peppers, a box safety. Like, that is the Giants going to have to prove it to me now. They've got 2 players from every draft they made prior to 2016. A long snapper and Eli, who evidently is going to outlast everybody. I don't know what the Giants are doing. I love the move for the Cleveland Browns. That was my initial reaction when I heard about it last night.
It's a great move for the Cleveland Browns, the best move that they've made as a franchise. I would say I would take the top 5 moves in franchise history, and this one would be one of them. One of their biggest moves when they lost the franchise, getting the franchise awarded back, that they were going to have football. But since then, I would say this is probably the biggest decision. Now, people will say, man, the Baker Mayfield, but them putting together this team. So let's give credit right from the top, because when good organizations do well, we always give credit to the ownership. Jim Haslam, as the owner there, man, he's gotten a lot of criticism through the years. He's made a lot of mistakes. The other businesses that he's in, he did not know that the NFL was the way. So he's made some colossal mistakes. Executives, coaches, players, how he was doing things. But he has the right guy in Dorsey as the general manager, and allowing him to be able to operate with the flexibility to build them a monster. Like, they have woke up a sleeping beast in Cleveland, and you have to be able to give credit to the ownership there in Dorsey. Dorsey will be executive of the year. If you look at what he's done in the short period of time, transforming this team from one of the worst franchises to being, now they have legitimate Super Bowl. Now, to me, this is not one of those off seasons like the Washington Redskins had, where we see people go out and spend $100 million in trying to buy a Super Bowl. No, this is someone trying to buy themselves a franchise and get some credibility back in the NFL with the young talent that they have. If you look at their star players, they got so many great players under the age of 25. They have more great players under the age of 25 than anyone in the National Football League. I'm excited about the Cleveland Browns, and I'm really excited because one of the best talents we've seen come into the league in Baker Mayfield, he's been getting ready to get supported like no quarterback that I've seen, because this reminds me of Troy Aikman when he was in Dallas. And he took that beat down. They end up adding Michael Irvin to that team because he was injured, so he wasn't there when they lost. And then they drafted Emmitt Smith, and they had the triplets going forward. This is the way the Cleveland Browns can look. They can look a lot like the Dallas Cowboys look in those great teams.
When C mentions triplets, obviously they've got Nick Chubb, but they signed Kareem Hunt. Now, Kareem Hunt is going to probably be suspended at the beginning of the year, but John Dorsey, a guy who was in Kansas City when they got Kareem Hunt, from a football perspective, that is a great move for them. So you also add the other things they've done this offseason. How about bringing in Olivier Verdon?
Absolutely.
How about yesterday during the show, Sheldon Richardson came over for them. So all of a sudden you are building. When we've seen other teams have a monster free agent or monster offseason, it's usually by, well, the way the Giants did a few years ago on defense. You're overpaying for your talent. The other aspect for this for the Browns just quickly is because the Giants paid the whole signing bonus.
Yeah.
They get Beckham at $15 million per year. Now, I know there's questions, how long will he play under $15 million per year, if he will come to them at some point, want more money. But right now...
Oh, he will definitely come to them before this contract is over with.
Oh, before it's over, for sure. Like, it just is kicking in now. There's no... But he won't come to him this year.
We don't know that, Nick.
Okay.
There are some stuff out there that he's not happy with the overall number. All right. There was a report last night. So it's not that he might not report, but he might not be happy after seeing Antonio. Julio Jones is getting ready to get a bump. Michael Thomas in New Orleans.
And Tyreek's going to reset the market.
Yeah, so don't just...
Okay, I would be surprised if he goes to him this season. My point is, regardless, they're not overpaying right now for Beckham. They got him for 15. They got him for 5 years, $72 million, as the contract is currently written, with nothing guaranteed after this season.
We had some questions about Jarvis Landry last year and what he was able to do, but Adam Henry, their receivers coach, actually coached both these guys, Landry and Odell, back at LSU. How potent does that make this offense now, that those two guys can work well together, and you have Baker, and you have what you already had from last year?
Yeah, they have a tremendous amount of things that you want as a coach. You have people in the building that are very familiar with Odell, and their wide receiver coach is a huge part of that. That's why John Dorsey, because I met with him last year. I did week number 14, Cleveland versus Carolina. I met with the wide receiver coach, and we talked about Odell. And he wanted Odell. He wanted to be able to trade for Odell at some point. He likes him. He's been knowing him since he was a kid. And Odell's had great success with him. He got the best out of Jarvis Landry and the rest of that receiving core last year. I don't think people understand when you're a young quarterback and you are able to add weapons. You got a stellar running back in Nick Chubb from University of Georgia, coming off a rookie season. Offensive line that is really underrated. Underrated enough that they could trade one of their guards for Olivier Vernon, because that's how much talent that they have up front. So their tight end is emerging as a threat. He can run. So, man, they got a track team. They can throw some people at you offensively, but let's not forget, I believe the Cleveland Browns, kind of hidden gem to this, their defense, I believe, is going to be a top 10 defense. We'll talk about the offense, but their defense is full of young playmakers also, and trading for Olivier Vernon was kind of the start of getting some more young players on the defense. I believe is going to be very, very good.
And that goes back to your original point, which is credit to John Dorsey. One of the blue chippers on that defense was a guy, when they drafted him, I was like, wait, what? At 4, you're taking Denzel Ward. You're not taking Bradley Chubb. You're taking the corner out of Ohio State. He was awesome last year. We know how good Myles Garrett is. That guy is 12 sacks a year waiting to happen if it's not already happening. Then you you find a pass rusher in Olivier Vernon through the trade market. You find Sheldon Richardson through free agency. Like, there you go now. Now, all of a sudden, I mean, those are, I would say, 2 no-doubt blue chippers in Garrett and Ward, and 2 whatever 1 degree below blue chipper is in the 2 players they added in free agency, in Olivier Vernon and Sheldon Richardson. So there's your defense. Right. And on offense, Baker, last quarter of the season now, top 6 in passer rating, top 8 in yards per attempt. Like, Baker was good immediately, but he was really good late. This is a team that, man, all they need is Joe Thomas to put 80 pounds back on and come out of retirement.
That's not going to happen. But I can guarantee you today, with March 13th, Baker Mayfield woke up and said, man, I'm feeling dangerous.